So now we are going to continue the discussion on central bank, and there are a lot of things that about central bank recently, especially in the United States. So for example, Trump usually only insists on what his opinion is, but that's not quite right. So at the beginning of this year, people expect the United States to continue to decrease the interest rate, because on the one hand, the economy stabilizes, and so to encourage people to consume more, and for the companies to invest more, and that the economy to recover faster. There's a conjecture that the central bank gonna decrease the interest rate. But in February, there's a big changes. The big change is Trump increased tariff. Not only that, because some of the countries, for example, Canada, European Unions, and even China, they also increase the tariff. So it becomes a trade war, And so because of that, you can imagine that price is gonna go up, Price gonna go up. Even though for the data from March, the employment growth is good, and the price level is stable. But that's for March, when the trade war hasn't started yet. So we're gonna expect, now it's April, right? We expect in May or in June, we can see some price goes up. So because of that, Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve of the United States, that's the central bank of the United States, he said, we are not going to decrease the interest rate anytime soon, because we need to be more careful, because the tariff will have an impact on the price level, So if price goes up and the central bank decrease the interest rate, what is going to happen? So hold on. Yang Junxiang. If price goes up and the central bank decrease the interest rate, what will happen? If we know price level already goes up, right? And interest rate goes down, what will happen to the economy?
Inflation.
Excuse me?
Inflation.
More inflation, right? More inflation. So because of that, President Trump criticized Jerome Powell and said, I want to get rid of you. But it's nonsense, And now we get to the point on the role of central bank. Some people say central bank should be independent, and some people say no, it should not. It is understandable, because if the central bank is not independent, there will be a lot of political factors affecting the monetary policy, and that is not good, because if you're going to check the monetary policy, it should be solely, the only consideration you have is the economy, rather than the other issues. But, Trump is a different person, On the one hand, he's stupid. On the other, he's never understand the basics of the economics. So, if Jerome Powell or anyone else really listen to him, it's going to be a big trouble. And the good news is that the Treasury, the Secretary of the Treasury, and other advisors to President Trump discourage him from doing so. So anyway, but as you know, if he indeed, want to get rid of Jerome Powell and Jerome Powell resign, there will be a big impact on the market. I believe it's gonna be crash. Okay, what is crash? What is crash? 李博彦. I say if indeed Trump get rid of Jerome Powell and he resign, the market will crash. What is crash?
Stock market and the crypto market will broke, going down.
Okay, going down. Okay, good. But crash, this word is much more severe rather than just go down. It's we call plunge. Just like this one, right? It will be this, okay? It's not just a small part of it. Okay. What other functions of the central bank? The central bank monitor, okay, the commercial banks. It monitors the commercial banks because once in a while, some of the banks, they are not following the rule, okay? So I think it's 2 years ago now, there's a bank in Silicon Valley, okay? He's taking more risk than he is supposed to, so they got into trouble. And so they monitor the commercial banks to make sure that they do everything right. And then they are in charge of monetary policy, okay? It's kind of interesting, you know, Milton Friedman. He is a person believing in free market, okay? Milton Friedman believes in free market, so there should be no intervention in the market. But somehow, he said, the central bank should not be independent, okay? But it doesn't mean that Milton Friedman will allow political factors to affect the policy of the central bank or any other monetary policy. It is that the central bank, all of the policy have to be, okay, looked at, okay, clearly and closely inspected by experts, the economists, to see the impact, okay? That's the most important issue. And why? Because, as he said, to solve the crisis of the Great Depression, the only thing that you need to do is to increase money supply. But very unfortunately, at that time, the central bank did not increase money supply. On the contrary, it cut the money supply, and that is going to, you know, get the situation worse. Okay, so even though Milton Friedman sounds like not quite intuitive, say, you know, the central bank should not be independent, but the point is that everyone, okay, has the right to inspect the policy of the central bank, and this is quite important that way. And also, the central bank deal with price level, okay? So make sure that the price level is stable, and also employment. So how the central bank gonna do this? Okay, there are 3 tools. One is discount rate. The second one, required reserve ratio. The third one, open market operation. So this is what we have done before midterm. So let us see if you still remember, you know, what's going on here. Okay, suppose the goal, okay, the goal is to increase GDP, increase production. And so in terms of the policy tools here, one is discount rate, required reserve ratio, and open market operation. So what should the central bank do? 朴国瑜. Okay, if your goal is to get more people jobs and get more income to people to make the economy better. What should you do with this? The first one. What should you do with discount rate? Going up or going down? Going down, okay? So you should decrease the discount rate. If you decrease the discount rate, it becomes cheaper for people to borrow money and also for the companies to make investment. So in this case, you should decrease the interest rate, lower down the interest rate. Okay, very good. And 11, what about the second one? What should the central bank do with required reserve ratio? Going up or going down? Excuse me? Going up or going down? Do you remember in the midterm test we have a money multiplier, right? Money multiplier. So for the easiest one, okay, what is the formula of the money multiplier? It is 1 over required reserve ratio, right? So then, what should you do with this if you want to increase the production and income of the economy? Going up or down? You should increase it or decrease it. The bigger the money multiplier, right? Then you get more money into the economy, right? And then the economy is going to be better, right? So how are you going to increase money supply? This one going up or down? Down, okay, good. So going down. Okay, then the last one. Okay, so in terms of giving more money to the economy, right? So if you want to conduct open market operation, you should buy bonds or sell bonds?
Buy bonds.
Buy bonds, okay, good. Because buy bonds, bonds coming in and money goes out, okay? So that's the basic idea. And then we also discussed there's one point we call sterilization. Sterilization. And in Mandarin it is called 冲销政策, okay? And what is this? Okay, so let us say the operation in the market either is by foreign exchange or by bond, okay? Because there is an impact on the economy. Okay, so suppose the economy is already very good and you get more money into the economy, okay? Again, be careful here. I say, so let us say, the central bank, they want to the central bank wants us to stabilize the foreign exchange rate of Taiwan dollar, okay, new Taiwan dollar, okay? If that is the case, then somehow the central bank has to do something. But suppose when the economy is already very good, okay, the economy is already good, and if you give more money, okay, if you give more money to the economy, what happened? It's gonna be overheating, right? The economy will be too good, and the price level will go up. And so if the central bank wants to stop this from happening, then he has to do something extra. And that is what we call sterilization. Okay, let me give you one example here. So let us say NT dollar, right? Suppose NT dollar, let us say it is appreciating. Okay, appreciating. If it is appreciating, right? And if NT dollar is going up, it will have a very bad impact on the economy. Okay, because if NT dollar appreciate, export will go down. Okay, why? Because NT dollar becomes more expensive, then Taiwan's goods will be more expensive to foreigners. Okay, so because of that, export will going down. So this is not good. So, okay, if it's this case, what should the central bank do? Huang Weixin, if NT dollar is going up, appreciate, and that will be bad for the economy because export will go down. So what should the central bank do?
卖掉它。
Sell NT dollar, but what else? Because we are talking about foreign exchange.
卖其他。
So buy US dollar, right? If central bank buy US dollar will go up, right? And so US dollar will go up and NTD, New Taiwan dollar, will go down. Okay? But suppose the economy is already quite good. Okay? If the economy is already quite good, if you buy more US dollar coming in, right? NT dollar going out, right? So there will be more money in the economy. Okay, there will be too much money in the economy. So in terms of the sterilization, what should the central bank do? They should sell bonds. Why they have to sell bonds? Sell bonds, bonds going out, and money coming in. So make sure that the economy will not be overheating. Okay, the price level will not increase too much. You get it? So this is the sterilization we talk about here. Okay, questions? So basically we're gonna finish the monetary policy part. And I will see if what else we're gonna talk about. And before the end of the class, we're gonna have one more chance to look at the textbook. Okay, we will have one chance to look at the textbook. So at that point, we will discuss a little bit more about the role of the central bank. Okay, and sometimes we call moral persuasion. Moral persuasion. So what is moral persuasion? Sometimes the central bank want people to do something, but they don't necessarily would do that. Okay, why? Because commercial bank, their purpose, okay, is to make money. So for whatever reason, they always want to maximize their money. But the central bank has different idea, okay? And so commercial banks have to follow some rules. And in Taiwan's case, you have foreign banks, you have local banks. But in any case, if they are not following the rule, central bank will do something. But it's not like they violate the law. If they violate the law, of course they're gonna get punishment. But sometimes it's not really the case. Okay, let me give you one example here. Okay, for example, whenever US dollar, coming in, and then NT dollar will appreciate. Okay, what am I talking about? Usually in the stock market, people will pay a lot of attention to what foreign banks are doing. Okay, we call 外资, right? Supposedly, they send money to Taiwan. Okay, they send money to Taiwan. What are they gonna do? They're gonna invest, particularly in the stock market. Okay, So they send money in. So US dollar supply going up, right? US dollar supply going up. So then US dollar going down and NTD going up. Okay, it's so simple. But sometimes when they send money in, they are not doing anything. They do not put money into the stock market. Okay, so you see, when they send money in, we expect, especially the central bank, expect them to put in the stock market to invest. But, sorry, there is no law, okay? There's no law saying, I don't invest in the market when I am, violating the law. No. But sometimes they indeed do that. That's what we call speculate. As you can tell, when they send money in and NT dollar increase, okay, appreciate, then they don't do anything. If they don't do anything, and later on they wire the money out, okay, later on they send money out, they can simply make money because NTD has appreciated. And this is not right. Because when they send money in, they are supposed to invest in the stock market. But invest in the stock market could be risky, and you don't always make money out of it. So it would be safe when I send money in, and later on when NT dollar increase, and I send money out, I get a difference, right? So I just make money. So oftentimes when this kind of situation happens, central bank will invite those foreign bank owners to have a coffee, okay? But it is a warning, saying you should not do this. When you will send money in, you should invest in the stock market, not just speculate on the foreign exchange. Okay? So basically, that's the story. Okay. Let us move on to ISLM, and we're gonna do some exercise. Okay? And this will be in the final. Okay? This will be in the final. Okay. Let me put down the question and let's do it together. Okay, what is this question? Say, C is equal to 15 plus 0.9 YD, okay? And G is equal to 30, okay? I is equal to 40 minus 10R, okay? And T is equal to negative 10 plus 3Y, okay? Okay. Question 1, find IS curve. Okay, this kind of question will be in the final. Okay, this kind of question will be in the final, so you got to be very careful. Okay, so how to find the IS curve? It's easy. Just using basic Keynesian model. Okay, Y is equal to C plus I plus G. Okay. And you know that in the past, okay, before midterm, we say I, okay, is just equal a number. And now is a number and also a function of R, interest rate, okay? So C, 15 plus 0.9, and Y little d, it is disposable income, okay? Disposable income is Y minus T. So Y minus T, okay, T is here, right? So minus, it becomes positive, right? 10 and minus 3y. Sorry, I guess there's something wrong here. Oh, sorry, here is. (0.3y), okay? Okay, questions. So this is C, and I 40 minus 10R, G 30. If you solve for this equation, then you get IS. So we get Y is equal to 15, 40, 30, right? So how much is that? 85. Plus 9, plus here you got 0.7, right? So 0.63Y minus 10R. Okay, questions? Okay, then what else? So it's gonna be 0.27Y plus 10R is equal to 94. Okay? Okay, questions? This is the first question. The second question, so it is the tax system is progressive, regressive, or proportional. Okay, what kind of tax is this? It is progressive, regressive, or proportional. So let me see. Okay, Chen Yuxiang. What is progressive? No idea. Regressive? 朱广彦, what is progressive? Okay, our tax system is progressive. Why? So for example, your income is less than $1 million, right? You will be taxed at 5%. But suppose your income goes up. So let us say from 1 million to 2 million, you will be taxed at, so I'm not sure about the exact number, but let us say it's like this. So 1 million, right? Less than 1 million is going to be taxed at 5%. And let us say greater than 1 million, let us say is like this. Okay, between your income, okay, is between 1 million and say 2 million, you will be taxed at 10%. I just give you an example. I'm not sure about the system in Taiwan. So what does that mean? When your income goes up, right, the higher income, the proportion that is higher will be taxed more. So what is this called? Chen Yuxiang. What would be this kind of taxation called? The more you learn, the more you make, the more you earn, then you have to pay more out of your income as tax. So what is that called? 3 words. The last word is tax. Li Boyan. Okay, exactly. Oh. And what about regressive? The opposite. Right. It means you make more, you pay less. So this one doesn't make sense, right? And proportional is always the same percentage, say 30%. But you know, this kind of system, right? Here. Is it proportional? No, it's not, right? If it is proportional, it is something like this. T is equal to 0.31. This will be proportional, right? Proportional, okay? And this one is not. So then which one is it? So let's check. So in order to figure out, it is a progressive, regressive. We know it's not proportional, right? It's not, okay? But then T is equal to negative 10 plus 0.3y, okay? So T over y is equal to y over negative 10 plus 0.3. Okay? Okay. So can anyone tell me this? Okay, if y goes up, what happened to this? Who else? 潘志远. Okay, we are now trying to figure out whether this is progressive, regressive. It is not proportional, right? It is not. Because if it is proportional, it will be something like, t is equal to 0.2y, 0.3y, whatever, right? So that would be proportional. So it's not proportional, then let's try to figure out what is this. This is progressive or regressive? 潘志远. Excuse me? Progressive. Okay, the easy thing to figure out is just to plug in a number. So let us say we plug in 10. Okay, say y is equal to 10. Then what is equal to t? Then is equal to negative 0.7, right? And if y is equal to 20, right? T is equal to negative 0.5 plus 0.3. So what is that? Negative 0.2. It means the tax rate goes up, right? The tax rate, as income goes up, tax rate goes up. So that's progressive, okay? Okay. Okay, and then another question here. So t is equal to negative 10 plus 0.35y. Okay, so what happens to IS curve? The easy way to deal with it is just to calculate again, okay? So what is the difference here? Originally that's 0.3, right? And now it's 0.35. Okay, so let me use this. Okay, and then the rest of it doesn't change, only this one, right? So this would be 0.65, right? Okay, 0.65. And so then what is here? Do I get it right? 0.9 times 0.65, right? Okay, so 9545. Okay, something like that, right? And what about here? It's going to be 0.415, okay? So the original one is 0.27y plus 10r is equal to 94, right? This is the original one, okay? And now tax rate increase, okay? Tax rate goes up. Tax rate goes up. So tax rate goes up, what happened? Okay, this line becomes steeper, okay? Originally, y and r, it is something like, actually I have an answer. Let me put down it here. So it is something like this. And then it will be something like this. It becomes steeper, okay? IS curve, what happened? Becomes steeper. Okay, it becomes steeper. And this question is coming from, let me check. This is a question from the entrance test for a master program of 中兴大学 Business Administration. So as you can tell, it's not that difficult. So the first thing is to calculate IS curve, right? If you want to calculate IS curve, use Keynesian model. Y is equal to C plus I plus G. Okay? And then you can get to the IS curve. Okay, the next one is, the second question is to figure out is a proportional taxation or progressive or regressive. As you can tell, it's easy, right? You use T over Y and to figure out whether that's proportional, progressive, or regressive. And the third question, if tax rate goes up, tax rate goes up, what happened? If tax rate goes up, IS curve becomes steeper. And when IS curve becomes steeper, what happened? Multiplier effect goes down. Multiplier effect goes down. The reason is quite simple. If tax rate goes up, you consume less. More money to the government, you consume less. And because of that, multiplier effect going to go down. Okay? Questions? No questions? Then let us get to the second problem. And this one is from 中央财管. Okay? Questions? There will be such question in the final. Okay? There will be such question in the final. Okay. I think we should have time to finish this. Okay, maybe not. Okay, let me give you some very special IS curve and LM curve. And we're gonna discuss this question next time. It's this Wednesday, okay? This Wednesday. Okay, let me give you the special case here, okay? So we have Y, R, and here is IS curve, and then here is LM, okay? This one is called liquidity trap. Liquidity trap. And this one is called investment trap. Okay, how does it work? Actually, you just remember these two cases, okay? And the other two is just the opposite, okay? You just remember this one and this one, okay? The others are the opposite. Okay, here we are going to talk about the effectiveness of monetary policy and fiscal policy. Okay, monetary policy and fiscal policy. So, when, as you know, right, it's horizontal. When it is horizontal for LM curve, when it is horizontal, what does that mean? That means the money demand, okay, the elasticity of money demand to interest rate is infinite, okay? The elasticity of money demand to interest rate is infinite. So that means when LM curve is very flat, okay, when LM curve is very flat or IS curve very steep, okay, or IS curve very steep, what happened? What you need to use is physical policy. Okay, let me repeat this again. When LM is very flat or IS very steep, in this case, what you need to use? You use physical policy. On the other hand, when LM is very steep, okay, when LM is very steep or IS very flat, what do you need to use? You need to use monetary policy. Okay, when IS flat, IS steep, you use fiscal policy. When LM very steep, IS very flat, you use monetary policy. Okay, how does it work? Okay, in this case, you have crowding out effect. Okay, crowding out. As you can tell, the interest rate can go up very quickly, right? The interest rate can go up very quickly. So in this case, what does that mean? That means if you're gonna borrow more money, the interest rate will go up very quickly and very high. And so will crowd out investment from the private sector. So in this case, what you need to use? You need to use monetary policy. And if it is flat, right? What does that mean? That means you have liquidity trap. If you have liquidity trap, you should use fiscal policy. And what about here? Okay, you have IS curve very steep. So usually, okay, you increase money supply, right? You increase money supply and let interest rate going down. Okay, increase in money supply and let interest rate going down. And interest rate going down, you expect investment to go up. But in this case, okay, investment is not responsive to interest rate. Okay, investment, okay, is not affected by interest rate. So in this case, monetary policy will not work. Okay, so basically you have all these cases. And now let us see. Okay, let's take a break.